You are listening to the College Football Report on the Central Indiana Sports Report. Today we have our IU guys, Grant Shouse and Mike Hutsell, to react to the Hoosiers being the number one seed in the college football playoff. It just seems like a crazy thing to say. And we have Eric Robinson with his reaction to Notre Dame missing out on the entire thing, kind of shockingly. Welcome, college football fans, back to the College Football Report. Today we have Grant Shouse from the IU Report. We have Eric Robinson from the College Football Report and a Notre Dame guy. Anyone who's listening knows that. We were going to start with IU because they clearly were the number one seed, the best team in the country, the story of today. But it turns out that we have another story, and that is Notre Dame did not get in the playoffs. I don't think that you can feel too bad for them with two losses and the fact that if you're in a conference, you can play your way in. But, Eric, it makes no sense that Miami was behind them last week. Neither team did anything, and now they're ahead of them, and no explaining it.
Obviously very disappointed. That's my biggest argument. I have a couple arguments, but the fact that Miami can jump up two spots without even playing, is ridiculous. Also, the ACC let a 7-5 football team win their conference. And I know Notre Dame played a lot of ACC teams. That conference is garbage. So you got Virginia and Duke playing for the ACC. Neither one of them get in. They put Miami in. None of it really adds up other than the head-to-head against Notre Dame. I don't know what you like about Miami, what the committee likes about Miami, rather. I don't get it.
They just decided because they were head-to-head, I guess, that it was close enough that they just were going to cheat and say, hey, we're going to move them up even though they didn't do anything. That's the worst-case scenario.
Yeah, and they didn't penalize Alabama, but they did BYU. So I don't understand that either. So
it's broken.
Wishy-washy.
The system's kind of broken. I think one of the best solutions, I think if you're Notre Dame, and this is sound like a broken record, and Eric, I think what I'm going to say is that if Notre Dame played in a conference, they would have a chance to play themselves in to the playoff. Should they be in? Maybe probably. They probably should be in right now. But you don't play in a conference. You don't play in a conference championship with a chance to play yourself into the playoff. That's where things can kind of get screwed up.
They're kind of forcing Notre Dame's hand here to get in to officially name themselves part of the ACC.
It could happen. I don't think it's going to happen soon. What it tells Notre Dame is you better win 11 games. You can't lose two. That's what it tells Notre Dame. So you got to look at scheduling. All the teams are looking at scheduling now. Florida State's already backed out. We're supposed to play them week 1 next year. Florida State's already canceled. So right now we only have 10 games on the schedule.
Need a commissioner right now.
Yeah, we do.
We need some kind of commissioner or commission. Just want to mention we welcome in Mike Hutsell. Mike, your thoughts on Notre Dame not making the playoffs?
I can't laugh hard enough.
Sorry, Eric.
Somebody finally told them, join a conference. It's great that they won 10 in a row to close the season, but service academies and 16th place teams in the Big East the SEC and the 18th best team in the Big Ten just doesn't blow it off you lost head-to-head to Miami. The doomsday scenario was you were going to be side by side with Miami in the standings. BYU made sure that happened. They didn't penalize teams that played yesterday for losing, which is a little bit of a surprise. I thought Alabama would slide in between and make it easy for the committee, but they didn't.
For BYU.
Well, BYU lost handily twice to the same team. And it was really hard to ignore that. They played one good team on their schedule.
I
and
agree.
they lost to them
But they
handily
did
both
punish
times.
them. They did punish their performance yesterday.
And at some point, you have to give credit to Miami. Miami was put in a really, really low position. They lost to Louisville, who didn't end up being a very good team. And then they had to climb their way back up. And they went out and took care of business. They, side by side, the teams that they had comparison-wise with Notre Dame on the schedule, they had comparable scores, if not better. They went out and blew out Pitt the way Notre Dame blew out Pitt. So really the only thing you had was a head-to-head matchup between the two. And I know it was week 1, and they did everything they could not to have to compare the two teams. But at the end of the day, that's what it came down to. And you have to reward head-to-head. It just has to happen. And good on the committee for doing it.
Why reveal what the positions are going into this week if you're just going to jump them the next week without either team playing?
It's a good point.
Well, yeah, go ahead, Grant.
I think you got to. I think you kind of got a point there, Greg. If you're not going to follow the way you've ranked them here up to this point, then why does it matter?
Well, the weekly ranking reveals is not a great idea. The NCAA basketball has done a great job for how many decades now of being pretty dang secretive when it comes to the selection committee. They'll come out, they'll do a little update of the top 16 every now and then, but the committee's putting themselves in the corner every week coming out and doing this rankings. Now they have to explain away how this can happen, how Notre Dame could keep sliding by not even playing, or when they keep winning and now they're getting penalized for it. It's purely a money grab. They're trying to get ratings, and good on them for being able to do it, but they're not doing themselves any favors with that weekly update show. That's for certain.
I'm tired of hearing the argument of Notre Dame's weak schedule going against them, yet it's a good thing for Miami. And they played the same teams. The only thing it comes down to is head-to-head. We'll leave it at that, but I'm tired of listening to people talk about the Notre Dame schedule. Their schedule is solid, as good as anyone. The numbers don't lie. Their strength of schedule is better than Miami.
Eric, you want to stick around and talk about IU? You're more than welcome. But if you want to go and be pissed off somewhere, we understand that as well.
I think I'm going to go be pissed off somewhere.
I understand.
But
and
all this does is make me be a huge IU fan. So at least I got Indiana to root for. What a game!
And even as a Purdue fan, I kind of feel we have Indiana to root for. I know a lot of Purdue fans are going to hate me saying that.
I know. I like Purdue basketball. If they get in there, I like to see them win.
I actually heard producer Susie refer to IU football as "we" last night.
No.
Oh, wow.
I was like, we're going to have a conversation, producer Susie. I don't like you cheering for IU, but we're not going to be calling them "we" in this household.
All right, guys. Great win last night. Eric.
Go IU, I guess. Yep. Oh. All right, let's talk some Hoosiers, guys. The #1 seed in the college football playoffs.
Oh, man. The grass is greener than it's ever been looking out the windows this morning. The birds' songs are just a little louder. It's beautiful. It's a great day. It's still a great day. Last night was a great night. I managed to sleep off, even though all the years of trauma were finally lifted off my shoulders. I did manage to get a few hours of sleep in, and just waking up this morning knowing I was about to watch a completely drama-free college football selection show with Indiana undoubtedly being the #1 ranked team, and having to hear people like Joey Galloway even give credit to Indiana for what they did. It was a beautiful thing.
It was a gorgeous thing to happen. I slept pretty great last night for what little I was able to sleep. I was up until almost 3:00 in the morning. Just could not get off of the high of that game. Even in rewatching the final play, watching the celebration, there's a nice video on YouTube that I'll have to send to you guys of someone who basically took a camera out there and showed the celebration as guys are on the field and everything. And it was so cool. David slayed Goliath last night, and it's fun being a fan of David. So I feel pretty amazing about it.
And now
Unreal.
you get rewarded with a Rose Bowl game against either one of the two great powers in the history of college football, either Oklahoma or Alabama. I think this worked out pretty daggone good for Indiana because I think that Indiana is better than both of those teams, as weird as it seems to say out loud, that they're better than Oklahoma and Alabama in football. But neither one of those teams over the course of the whole season has shown me that they're as good as Indiana. Do they have five-star talent? Do they have five-star talent? Absolutely, they have five-star talent. But
It's insane.
Oklahoma has no offense.
I know I'm moving them on in my bracket, and I'm barely thinking about it against Oklahoma or Alabama. It's insane.
The most ironic thing about this, and he's not on the call for me to say this, so he'll have to hear me say it if he listens to the pod. I didn't want to play Notre Dame in the second round.
I didn't
Absolutely.
either.
That was worst case scenario for me. 8-9 matchup. Notre Dame knocks off Oklahoma, I think, fairly easily. And then that's the type of team that Indiana would struggle with, a team that can be physical and dominate on the lines. And Indiana doesn't have that now. And don't say that last night didn't matter, because the difference between being the 1 seed and potentially playing either that 8-9 game now, being those two teams, and then potentially playing either Oregon or Texas Tech in the semifinals looks a hell of a lot different than getting a second round game against A&M and potentially a semifinal matchup with Georgia.
I've been saying here for about a month I would not want to play Notre Dame. Just what they did there after losing them to Texas Tech was pretty impressive, but they didn't play anybody. I disagree with Eric's statement on that Miami and Notre Dame played the same teams, but they really didn't. Miami didn't play Boise State. They didn't play Arkansas. They didn't play Navy. They might have played Boston College. Yeah, they didn't play Purdue. So they did not play the same teams. And Notre Dame got the benefit of an easy schedule, and now they get to pay the price. And it's hilarious. It genuinely is hilarious, and it's actually maybe one of the more funnier things that I think has ever happened to me while watching college football is that Notre Dame got left out. Notre Dame fans are the hall monitors of college football, and I absolutely cannot stand their fans. So it could not happen to a nicer group of people, in my opinion. I hope they enjoy their, the Pop-Tarts Bowl against, I don't know who'd be in the Pop-Tart Bowl. Who cares?
They should feel at home against whatever service academy team that they play in a bowl game, because that's who they play in the regular season anyway. So,
yeah, I hope they have fun playing Memphis or something like that. Like, go try and win your bowl game. Now, that's the thing about with the 12-team bracket is that these bowl games that are not playoff games are essentially like the NIT in college basketball. And it's like every March we get our March Madness bracket out and we fill that out. That's essentially now what we have with college football with the 12 teams. And now these teams that miss the playoff are basically going to the NIT, which is just hilarious to me. 2 years in a row, we're watching Indiana football be in the playoff. One of them as the number 1 overall seed and the best team in the country. This is never going to feel real. I don't know how long until this really becomes the standard, but this will never feel real to me, at least not for a long time.
And the bad thing is now there's going to be a year where Indiana's 9-3, and it could be next year for all we know. They've got a pretty tough schedule next year. They play USC, they're at Michigan, they play Ohio State at home. They've got a tough schedule next year. If they go 9-3, are the Indiana fans going to start acting like Indiana basketball fans. It's like, oh, we gave him too much money too early. This is ridiculous. Whereas I'm trying to figure out what's the fastest way to expedite a statue being built for a guy and put it right next to the rock outside of the football stadium, because
Like
Brandon Walker, of all people, said it this morning. He said Curt Cignetti's the greatest hire in the history of college football. And Nick Saban's probably the answer to that question, because the dude won 7 titles coming off of a really, really crappy run for Bama. But with the historical relevance of Indiana football, to have them where they are right now, and he's up next on ESPN, by the way. Cignetti he's got to be a top 2, top 3 all-time hire, and that's crazy to say.
Just
guys,
unbelievable.
We'll talk more about it on the IU report. I'm going to let you go listen to Coach Cignetti. I'm going to go watch the Colts, and we will talk more about this on Tuesday or Wednesday on the IU report. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Greg.
Hey Susie, did you know that the Central Indiana Sports Report is a product of ITG Media?
What?
It is. You came up with that name. True enough, you did. And also that I love you.
No.
It's true.